Hello everyone and welcome to another Creative Design Team YouTube collaboration where this month we're actually scraplifting each other. So that is going to be a whole lot of fun. Andrea and Erin have already gone ahead of me. So if you have caught their videos already, you'll have an idea of what we're talking about when we mention scraplifting someone. And today I'm going to be scraplifting one of Andrea's layouts. I'm going to show you the layout that she shared. Now I'm showing you a screenshot that I did of this, and you can see with the screenshot that I've taken, I've kept Andrea's name down here so that I know exactly where I've got this idea from. It's very important, I think, when you are scraplifting someone that you give them the recognition, because that idea has come from somewhere, and it really isn't hard to give a shout out to someone when you're basing a layout on someone else's design. The fun thing about Andrea's layout, this one I chose because I just loved the style of it, with the landscape and the portrait photos and some strips of paper and a big focal piece in the background. But when I actually watched her video, she gave a shout out to Christy Harriman. So Christy does challenges, 30 days of sketches, and different people contribute to the sketches. So I took this screenshot of Andrea holding her iPad and giving a shout out to Christy because this was within her group, and the sketch was actually created by Susan Stringfellow. So this is the layout that Andrea has based her sketch on, and I thought it was quite appropriate really that when I was looking through all of Andrea's thumbnails for her layouts and everything, this was the one that I chose. But until I watched her actual video, I didn't realize that she had based it on a sketch by someone else. So even though I'm scraplifting Andrea's layout and a little bit of the changes that she made compared to the sketch here, I am basing my layout on hers, which was based on a sketch. So I think that's quite good to note. Whether you found something on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest, or on YouTube, it really isn't hard to credit the person where you found this from and give them a little love. Put a little link in your description as well so people can go and check out what they did. We all love to share what we do, and it's great to know where the ideas sometimes come from if you have scraplifted someone else. So I'm just going to keep this off to the side, even though I have done quite a bit of prep work. I'm going to use the Hello Darlin paper. Now, this Hello Darlin paper is actually the bulk paper. So on the back side is a stripe, and on the front side is this fun candy apple with the stars on there. And the other pattern paper that I'm bringing in, if I can pick this up because I've got layers of things underneath me here so I can show you, is this fun black and white dot. Now I kept a zip strip from this. This is from Silver and Gold, which was back in 2017. I quite love how the black and white pattern works with the red and white pattern. So you can see that these papers that I've selected are nothing like the beautiful soft layers that Andrea has selected. I'm going for a bright and bold magical layout today. So let me get everything set up. I'm just going to cut these down because I am going to use the same sort of panel and strip that she's got behind her photos there. And I'll keep bringing the iPad in so you can see what changes I'm making and what additions I'm making to the layout. I'm just going to move one of my Versamats aside so you can see what I've done with the background. I've got a 12 by 12 piece of black cardstock, and then I've got an 11.5 by 11.75 size white daisy, because I want these pages to meet in the middle here like this, so the continuity of it goes all the way across, so the white becomes one big panel. I'll leave my Versamats here while I just set this out, and I have already gutted out the inside section of this black paper because I've created some photo mats for this. Now the photo mats themselves measure 6 by 4, but the photos will be trimmed down a little bit, and I've put the photo placeholders in here so that they can act like a white mat as well, and then I can trim my photo down just 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I am keeping the general design of photo placement that Andrea did in her layout, and I've already cut my pattern paper here. So the larger piece will go on this side, and then this one will go here. I'll just give you the measurements of those. This measures 12 inches in width, and I've cut it at 9 inches in height. So these will go around the middle here. And I've got my Versamats double stacked here, but I did want you to see the black background behind here. And then these will go in the middle, and my photos are going to be placed just like Andrea did. 2 portrait on the right side and 2 landscape on the left. And then the dot paper, I've trimmed to a 1-inch strip. Now, and rather than dovetailing, I've just cut it on an angle. Just gives it a bit of a softer look. And with this dot paper, it's actually quite easy to do that, because if I look at this, there's already an angle here to follow. So I don't even have to put this in my trimmer. Now this one's going to be a little bit longer than the left side. So I think to start with, I'm just going to cut that off there. I can always trim more off if I need to. I've got a title that I've cut out in the Cricut. This is a Cricut Access title. It actually had Life is Magical. I did some slicing on this, so I cut away the Life is at the top, and then I brought these little stars. This one was already placed here, but I sliced away these ones so that I could bring them down and make an offset. I love the offset tool, and that would give a base for the letters. So this to me is like a theme park day. It would work quite well for Disney photos, I think. And when I looked at the Hello Darlin papers and I saw this pattern, I thought Christmas and I thought Disneyland, and I just thought fun, sparkly days having fun out with the family. The other thing I'm going to bring in is a Cricut cut that I've designed that has these star images. This is from one of Close to My Heart's older collections. It's still available in Cricut Access, and it comes in as just one of these stars. So I have just copied and pasted these and I've laid them out. I'll just move this out of the way so you can get a good look at it. And then I've put them up against each other. I've rotated some, and then when they're all positioned, I've welded them together to make one piece. So I'm thinking this is going to come out this side. Put this back here, and this one is going to come out this side. The page is all starting to come together now, but I think I need some separation between these red stars here and the pattern paper. So I've cut some 1/4 inch strips that are 9 inches in length. And rather than go all the way around the outside of this, because I think it will make it quite heavy to have another black mat all the way around here, I'm just going to put these up against each side of this pattern paper and just see how that looks, because I think that will solve the problem of this differentiation here. If I just dry fit this one on here, I think this is going to work quite well. Let's put these back in place and have another little look at what I've got. And I think this is looking really, really good. And then I've got a journal spot here. So this is going to go over this element there. This is cut out on the Cricut as well. I've used the offset feature on the white circle, but I've done a negative. And then when that piece is there, you can go in and select pen. And then you need to attach that pen element there to the white circle so that this piece will cut as one element, so you don't get a drawn circle separate from the white circle that you want it to be on. And I'm just going to bring in Andrea's layout here just to show you what she did. She had some Cricut cuts as well, so that's what gave me the idea of doing this one here. And when she cut them out, she had several panels of them running along behind her photos. But I decided with this pattern paper, because it's quite bold and I wanted to do the red stars because I had a black and white title, that I would just have these 2 Cricut cut pieces coming out the sides of my photos. This circle here is going to represent these floral elements, and these stars are sort of doing the job of everything down along this side here because it is quite a busy cut. What I think I'll do is anchor this piece up here with a banner. This one's been sliced to match this side, and then this one's going to have the stars. But once I've stuck everything down, I'm going to trim those so that they're not bumping into this. And to bring a little bit more of the red in and to replicate this little section here, I'm actually going to take everything off here. I'm going to stick all this down in a moment, but there's a treatment that I want to do to this section and up here. I'm going to start tearing this away, and I'm just being very, very careful not to go down past where my black is underneath. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of the pattern paper underneath that. I think it'll make quite a nice little feature, and I should have thought about doing this before I'd actually adhered this down. You can see that my adhesive here is showing through. I think I might need to extend it out this way a little bit as well. So I'm just going to tear back this way, and that way that is not quite so abrupt. And then I'm going to cut a little piece of this to slip underneath. So I'm just sort of measuring that. Keep my finger in place so I know where to cut it. So I'm going to make it around 5 inches, and I don't quite need that much. I'm just going to chop a little bit more off, and then what I'm going to do is lift this up. It's a little bit hard to do after the fact. I really wish I thought of this beforehand, but I'm going to run a little bit of tape runner. Actually, I might just lift off this whole entire corner. That's easier. And I'm going to run my tape runner all the way down this edge here to hold that in. And that will go right up against here. Now, before I press that down, there's actually not very much showing. So now that I've taken that off and I know that I've got a wider piece here, I can actually tear away a little bit more than what I originally had done. I'll tear a little bit off. I don't know if you do things like this when you're making projects. You adhere everything down and then you think, oh wait, I would actually like to put something else under there to add another little bit of a feature. I'm going to turn this around. There might be more stars showing this way. I think that's going to look better. So I'm lining that up to the top of there, and then I can just push that back down, move all of this out of the way so I can have a look at how it all looks cohesively across the 2 pages. And I really love this little effect. So now, you know, my brain's working overtime because I'm thinking I really want to add that little feature on the right page as well. So I'm going to do that, I think. I'm not going to put this down quite as neatly as what I did before. I love how that looks. I'm actually going to do a little bit of that down this side. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing here, maybe not quite as much of that as I've got the red stars coming out here. And I'll just do all of that off camera and adhere everything down, and then I'll be back to do some decorating. I've got everything adhered down, and I really love that I've gone ahead and put a little bit of that torn piece here. I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of glue down because this has come up a little bit. There we go. So that will hold that down nicely. And now I'm thinking about embellishments. So when I'm looking at this, it's a very strong red, white and black theme. So I went through some of my old embellishments, and I've got some old red, white and black ones. I'm just going to lay these out in little areas so I can have a look at what they look like. But I think because this layout is so striking with these very strong colours, adding these dots may not exactly work. So then I thought about just bringing in the clear sparkles. So I'm not sure what you think should go on there. I'd love to hear what you think would be the right embellishment or what you would choose to do. But for me, I think by adding these coloured dots, it might make the layout just a little bit too heavy. So I'm going to go with these clear sparkles here and just scatter some of these around. I was thinking about getting very uniform and putting, oh, if I can hold on to it, it's jumping all around in my fingers. There it is. No, I still haven't quite got it. So I was thinking about putting one of these little dots in the center of each of these stars, but that might be a little bit too controlled. So maybe instead of doing that, I'm just going to keep with the fun and just sprinkle some of these around. And instead of trying to pick them up with my fingers, I'm just going to slide them right off the carrier sheet, and they're going to go wherever they land. I think it might be fun to put a couple up around the title. I am making sure, oops, see, look, they're jumping all around on me tonight. And then sticking to my fingernail. I'm just going to go back to putting them on with my fingers. And this one I've actually coloured with a gold yellow marker. So I'm going to keep that one aside because I don't want to bring in an additional colour. But I think this just lifts it just a little bit, and it still retains the fun of the page without making it too heavy with some of the enamel dots. The other thing I was thinking about doing is bringing in some of these black die cuts. So these are the black arrows, but I'm thinking they might be a bit too heavy as well. Now, I don't want to push any out of this sheet. So I've already got out some of my old stars, and these are the white arrows. So these are the new arrows. This is the old collection that I've got. I've got some black acrylic arrows as well. I sort everything into this photo storage box by like. It's not done by colour. I just put all the arrows in one and all the hearts in another, but when I have new ones from the current core catalogue, I will put them in a container all on their own, and that way I can keep track of what's old and what's new. I do love these die cut ones because they're just a paperboard and they're a bit sturdier than normal cardstock, and you get a whole sheet of them, and you can't really see them on camera. I'm trying really hard to show you what they look like, but they just pop out so easily, and there's a lot of arrows on there, but I don't want to pop those out because, as I said, that is a brand new pack. So just to see whether or not I like the look of the black arrows, or I might think that it might be too heavy, I'm just going to use these old acrylic ones just to see if I like them on the page. And I think the black is too heavy for the page, so I'm going to take these away. I'm not going to introduce wood at all. I've got a bit of a mix in here. Some of these are thinner, so they might be, I might have mixed a few things up. So maybe some of these little arrows might work, or these little chevrons, if I can find some more of those. I quite like how that points in to the page. That's quite a bit of fun. So let's see, maybe I'll put another couple of these. And I'm going to put those over this side. That one's a little bit smaller. Actually, I quite like that. I'm going to see if I can find another small one. So it's a bit of a hunting game. I could tip them all out on my desk, but I won't do that for now because I have managed to find them. I think they're going to work really, really well. Now, to adhere these, the Close to My Heart dot ruler is really, really handy for this. You just have to run it over, and the dots will adhere just to the acrylic shape, and that's what I've used to adhere these down as well, just the dot roller. And when you do it over the top of the all-purpose mat, any excess just sticks onto the mat, and the dots themselves just adhere themselves to the actual shape. If you've got any overhang, you can just rub your fingers along like that just to remove that a little bit. I'm just going to do these next two, and while I'm doing that, I just want to mention all the links to everything that I have used today will be in the description box below. If you are still with me and you would like to see me do a little bit of a Cricut tutorial on how to manipulate a title to get exactly what you need, and then use the offset feature to make the base layer all cut out as one. And if you would also like to see how to weld elements like this together, and also to attach a drawn line on top of a shape, just let me know in the comments below. If I get enough comments that want to see that, I'll definitely think about doing a video. It might just be a short video, and I can recreate and manipulate these elements on here so that you can see exactly how this was achieved. I'll also have links below to Andrea's video and also to the Facebook group where Christy's sketches are. It's quite a good jumping off point if you're struggling a little bit and you want to look at some sketches, or if you want to participate in a challenge, you can do that as well. There'll be lots of links for you to check out below, also the playlist for the creative design team. I can't wait to see what the other girls have in store for us when we scrap lift each other. It's always fun to see what they come up with from someone else's design, and you can see from this layout here, my layout doesn't look really anything like Andrea's because I've gone for the bright bold colours with the black, the white and the red, and she's got a much softer feel for a wedding layout, and I really love what she did with these floral elements. So make sure you go and check out her video because the colours and the tones that she's used and the stamping, and she's done stenciling as well. I did try doing that on my layout. I actually cut one on the Cricut just in white and tried to do some blending behind this, but it was just getting proving a little bit too busy for me, but it's definitely something that you could think of doing. You could cut something like this and do stenciling on the page instead of the Cricut cut itself and just reuse this and ink over the top. And this is the sort of effect that you will get. You can see that you get the outline of the stars when you just do this sort of effect and lay this over the top and ink blend. So there's lots of uses that can be used for Cricut cuts. You don't necessarily have to use all the cut pieces direct on your page. You can use them for stencil elements, and you can see how Andrea did that in her layout here. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, happy crafting and bye for now.